Hey again. So now for week 11, we're going to look at how a log transformation transforms our data and makes the correlation between our variables, our independent variables, and our dependent variables, the response rate, a little bit better. So on the left side of the screen, we have the total dollars, average order, and your last buy, similar to your RFM. And we're going to test the regression with, or the linear regression with the dependent variable, the response rate. And then on the right side of the screen, we have the log transformation of all of those. And so going down is the output of both. Now for the test, you won't be asked to calculate or arrive at the output. You'll just be asked what to do with the output. And so you'll notice that the adjusted R-square is 0.54 before the transformation, and we got a little bit closer to 1, which means that there's a larger correlation once we make the transformation. Another point to take in is our F statistic goes from 40, which is just marginal, to well over 200, which is a huge improvement. Often when we make those transitions, we'll increase our F statistic and increase our adjusted square. To test which independent variable is significant or not, we have a p-value. When the p-value is less than 0.05 or 5%, it is insignificant, like our school, like Ryerson, and we should reject them. In this case, we had the last buy, which was insignificant. I'm sorry, I got that mixed up. So if it's less than 0.05, it is considered significant, meaning stick with it. Whereas if it is greater than 0.05, it is insignificant. And so in the case of last buy, which kind of contradicts the whole RFM thing, but this is a made-up scenario, the last buy is considered insignificant because it has a p-value greater than 5%. We can also tell that if it's insignificant, if we look at our lower bound with a 95% confidence interval, our lower bound and our upper bound limits, and if we see that the 0 falls in between these two limits, it means that it is insignificant. If we have the 0 not falling out of these, like for example we have a negative to a negative, that means that there is no 0 falling in between it. That means we accept it. It is significant. And same with all these. So we have the p-value, the upper and lower control limits that we can gauge whether a variable is significant or insignificant. And finally, the last gauge is the t-statistic. The t-statistic, as long as it is higher than 1.96 or 2, then that means it is significant regardless of the negatives. And so we recognize that all three independent variables are higher than 2, except for that last one, last buy. The transformation did not make the last buy insignificant. Sorry, it didn't convert this variable here from insignificant to significant after that transformation. So it just goes to suggest that perhaps it's worth dropping the variable in order to improve the model. That's the end of this tutorial.